Hey guys, and thanks for joining me again. I thought this week I'd do a video on J200 guitars. As you can see next to me, this is a guitar that I bought late last year and has since become one of my favorite, if not the favorite acoustic guitar that I own. And she came up for sale on a Facebook group on a Saturday night. I just happened to be home, contacted the guy immediately and was around there on a Saturday morning while he was still getting up and having a coffee in his pajamas. And subsequently bought the guitar at a really good price. It's a mid-60s model. And one of the things that intrigued me when I was playing the guitar was the fact that it had a Tune-o-matic bridge on it. I was pretty sure that the guitar had been modified, but the guy I bought it off assured me it was completely original, and I subsequently bought the guitar. So I did quite a bit of research when I got the guitar home, and was pretty demoralized to read a lot of forums where many guitarists describe this particular model with the Tune-o-matic bridge as being the tone killer and a really unpopular model. So personally I was pretty surprised actually reading these forums and reviews on these guitars because I really did love this guitar. So I did a bit of research and realised that actually Jimmy Page, through a lot of the Zeppelin career, was actually playing one of these guitars on the Zeppelin records. And he had a 1966 J200 with the ABR bridge on it, and he said it's one of the best acoustic guitars he's ever played. Also, George Harrison had a J200, and he got that after the Sgt. Pepper's album, and you can hear that guitar extensively on the White Album, and in particular While My Guitar Gently Weeps and Long, Long, Long. And also apparently John Lennon used to borrow it a lot, and he used it on songs like Two of Us from the Let It Be album. So George Harrison actually gifted that J200 to Bob Dylan, and that particular guitar you can see on the cover of his 1969 album, Nashville Skyline. And he also used that guitar live, and you can see it actually in footage and in stills from his performance at the Isle of Wight concert in 1969. So Dylan was pretty fond of that guitar. Pete Townsend, he has a 68, and that was his favourite writing instrument for many, many, many years, and literally he used that it basically fell apart when it was actually caught in a flood in a recording studio, and by far it was his favourite guitar that he owned. So recently I was over in the States, as you've probably seen on some of the other videos, and I actually took this guitar over with me and I was playing and writing with it while I was away. And I went out of my way when I was visiting guitar stores to actually go and play a lot of the other J200s with the Tune-o-matic bridges. And while I played a lot of J200s, there were only 3 that I found that had these ABR and Tune-o-matic bridges on them. So the first one I played was in Rumble Seat Music, and that's in Nashville, and they had a really lovely 66 there with the ABR bridge, and that was a really lovely guitar, actually quite well priced, very similar to the guitar that Jimmy Page had, same year and same color. So the second J200 that I played while I was in America was at Gruen Guitars in Nashville too, and that was a guitar that was owned by a Grand Ole Opry singer, a guy called Hank Lachlan. He was a honky-tonk singer, and that's been one of his favourite guitars. That had a pretty hefty price tag on it. But again, another beautiful guitar that sounded fantastic. So the third guitar that I played with the Tune-o-matic bridge was at Norman's Rare Guitars in LA, and that was one of my last stores I visited on my trip. And I went into the store and I was kind of having a look around, and Mark, who you see on all the videos, who's the store manager, asked me if I was after anything in particular. And I said, do you have a Gibson J200 with a Tune-o-matic? And he kind of looked at me and said, yeah, we do. It's one of Norm's own guitars. But he said, look, it's out the back. It is for sale. It's just not on show. Would you like to play it? So he disappeared out in the back room and brought it out for me, and I played Norm's guitar for about an hour, and it was absolutely stunning and one of the best acoustic guitars I've played. So an extraordinary condition, as you would expect from one of Norm's personal guitars, and that particular guitar actually features in his first book, so that's how good an example of that guitar is. So unsurprisingly, the best J200 that I played is actually owned by Norman himself from Norman's Rare Guitars. It had a pretty considerable price tag on it and was actually out of my price range, so I had to leave that one in the store, but beautiful, beautiful guitar. Now, I'm interested to know other people's thoughts on these guitars, if you've owned any of them or you've played any of them, whether you like them, don't like them, you know, have comments on why you think people like Jimmy Page love them and so forth. So leave your comments, interested to hear what you've got to say, and look forward to seeing you on another video.